And we are live, George. All right, at least it says it is.
Yeah, cheers. Evening, everyone. Now, look at that. 7 p.m. on the dot. We're actually not late. That's got to be the first time since we've done the shows, I think. So, well done, everyone. Good effort. Hope we're all good on this happy Friday. Obviously, we're going to chat about the London Lioness games on Sunday at the really stupid time. Oh, sorry. Let me say that in a more unbiased way. Yeah, at the really, really stupid time of 11:55 a.m. in Bromley. So we'll talk about that. But let me introduce you to my guests first. Paul, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good, mate. Thank you. Looking forward to getting back to some football. It seems ages since there was a match. So, yeah, looking forward to that.
Be nice to talk about some real football. On this international stuff. Cool. Amanda, good to have you back on. How you doing?
Yeah, thanks. Hi, I get all good for me. Same as Paul. Can't wait to get back to it this weekend.
Amanda, good to have you back on. And Catherine, how are you doing?
Oh, doing good. Hoping that the weather turns it around. So a nice little sunshine incoming for women's football being back this weekend.
Yeah, this might be slightly different than the show you done last night, but we'll probably still have a bit of fun. But yeah, we won't have any ratings, don't worry. Well, we might do, you never know. But yeah, obviously, for those who didn't know, Catherine, Prudy, Laura, and G, I think that was all of you, wasn't it? Absolutely smashed the show last night on the Cannon and Friends. So if you haven't watched that, definitely watch that back. And James, how you doing, mate? You're stepping in for Laura today, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I'm going to attempt to. I'm not making any promises that will go well, but we can always try, can't we? But yeah, doing well. Full house and lovely traditional Scottish weather, or rain and sun at the same time. So a good Friday all round.
Yeah, we've got these really bad winds at the minute, like in Peterborough. We had to I had to go and pick up Mika's trampoline from next door. So even they threw it over the back of the fence as well because it's so windy. So but yeah. Do we have any comments, James or Paul?
2 seconds. So we've got Chris Wells in saying good evening.
Hey,
Laura's
Chris.
in, giving us a watch. Oi, guys.
Hey, Laura. Hey, guys. Hey, anyone else?
557. What the?
Hiya.
Little M Jim saying Maybe you can translate that. Doesn't sound too Scottish to me. Sounds more your end, George.
I don't know. I think it's just saying hello, but there you go. Hi to everyone in the chat. Hope you're good. Obviously, please get in, stay in touch with us with like dropping your views when we go on about the show. We might as well just get started. Obviously, the WSL is back after the international break. It seems like I'll come to you, Catherine, first. Seems like it's been absolute ages since Arsenal played, but we're going into playing London City Lionesses. What's your thoughts going into that?
Just that I'm happy it's back. I mean, it was even mentioned in the press conference today that FIFA's new schedule of international breaks and this one being longer than usual. I think it's exciting that our first game back from this seemingly long international break is against the same team that we opened up the season with. So I'm optimistic for Sunday.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to be putting it right now. I know that Renee had said it was kind of like they were going stir crazy with, oh, we've come up with new ideas, but we can't do anything about them yet because no one's here. So she and her staff seem to be about as going as stir crazy as we the fans were going with such a seemingly long international break.
Yeah. Obviously, Paul, coming to you. Obviously, we had the international break, so we saw quite a lot of our players got some good minutes in, didn't they? Even Lotta, I think, got some minutes in for England. So, kind of, what's your thoughts going into the game? Do you think we'll see? Do you think we'll see like a similar team to what we saw before? Obviously, maybe with a couple of changes, but we should be seeing Leah and Lotta, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I mean, I was pleased to see Lotta get that start and playing that game for England. She deserved it, and I think the minutes of all our girls have been pretty good. They haven't been overused, but then they've still kept their fitness up. There's, like Catherine's just said, such a long international break, this one, that going back into this game, at least it's, not against one of the top teams like Man City. At least we can sort of ease our way back into it. We've got a couple of easy games-ish coming up. But yeah, I reckon at the back we're looking at Leah and Lotta. Obviously, Steph and the others are still out in Australia. So yeah, should be good.
Yeah, nice one. Also, Mark, I hope you're doing all right, mate. Feel free to drop like your opinions about Australia and the Asia Cup as well. Yeah, so it'll be good to see what you've got to say about that. Amanda, coming to you. Obviously, there was talk from Renee in the press conference, wasn't there, that Beth Mead should be able to get a few minutes. So that's a really positive sign, isn't it? Especially with the Chelsea game coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and as far as I know, there's nobody's come back with any new injuries as well, which is always the dread, isn't it? So that looks positive. So yeah, no, like you guys, just really excited to get started again. It was good to see most of the girls in action over the international break. Don't know about you, but I was sitting there watching that second match, watching Stanway, like I had Stanway cam on, thinking, yeah, she could definitely do a decent job for us. She is, I was pretty impressed with her over the international break as well. So it's always good to see. You don't see much of her, really, do you? With our TV. But no, I think it's good. Like you said, this is the first match of the season, wasn't it? Did we win 4-1, 3-1 at ours? So I'm expecting it to be definitely winnable, and I think we've got quite a few winnable matches coming up. So I'm excited.
Yeah, got a bit of a story about that first game of the season. Paul already knows this, but so I was like, yeah, I can't wait first game of the season. And where I used to work said, oh no, you've got to work that day, and I was like, no, you've got to be joking. But I was in Stevenage, so I finished my work event just about half an hour before the game started. So it was all going to plan. We was 5 minutes away from Finsbury Park, hit a red signal, and I was like, you've got to be joking. And then, so I got there. I got outside the Coronet at about after an Uber, and it was about 20 minutes left of the game. So I ended up doing a live watch-along outside the Coronet of the game that was up the road.
I remember you joining.
Yeah, I was with. I came on with you, Catherine. Like that was like it was so like surreal. I was like, and I remember Jonesy saying, "Oh, I recognise that roof." Like,
and you were like, "Thank God," because the taxi driver just dropped me off and said absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's like my Uber driver just said, "Oh, you're here now," and I was like, "All right, where's here?" Like, so luckily, I just went on the watch on to see where I was technically, and luckily Jonesy and Liam recognised where I was. So, but yeah, I do remember that game. James, coming to you, obviously just carrying on the chat about Beth. It's a massive thing for us, isn't it? We need to have as many of our best players available for the Chelsea games that are coming up. And I know people can say, "Oh well, you've still got Lionesses, West Ham, and Tottenham," but if you're looking at those games that you really want to have Beth Mead for, it's them Chelsea Champions League games, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as much as we were a bit up when it came to the whole, I think it's the She Believes Cup, the Australians and stuff are away to. It was one of our biggest worries was, do we have the players fit? Your Beth Mead, Leah Williamsons, even Van Domsler. So seeing that picture the other day, actually, it's that bad. I haven't seen Beth Mead in that long. Laura actually showed me the picture yesterday of her in training. And I turned around and went, who's that? So it was a nice surprise to see she's back in full training. Hopefully, I just heard a couple of games. Technically, yes, obviously the league we want to still focus on as much as possible, but if you can kind of hold back on using, as you say, the likes of Beth Meads, get her fitness back up and get her ready for those two Chelsea games, I think that's the crucial two you're looking at.
Yeah. Because I just think, like, obviously, the Lioness game, if she can get a few minutes in that one, James, that would be obviously ideal. And then we've got West Ham, haven't we? So a few more minutes in that. I think this Lioness game, for me, I think the Lioness game and the West Ham game are perfect games for Chloe Kelly to actually get back into her stride. So if you can rotate between Kelly and Mead over the next few games until you get to the Chelsea game, that's kind of what Kelly's there for, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we've all seen it. I mean, personally as well, obviously, not just obviously with him too. I'd quite like to see Bobby get a few minutes, even getting one of those two games, as you say, either London City this weekend or the West Ham game, just to get her keep her confidence and fitness boosted, just in case. Obviously, we seen it when Bobby went off. Obviously, in the final of the Club World Cup, it was a massive panic moment because as much as Van Domsler was deemed fit, it was basically a straight back in at the deep end. So I think 1-1, there's sort of coin toss between who gets what game. Keep the confidence boosted, and then hopefully get into those two Chelsea games with as strong and as fit a squad as we possibly can.
Yeah. Just want to say a few hellos. Darren, good to see you back, mate. Hope everything's okay. Hopefully see you on Sunday. Also, Mark was saying about Australia. I think they beat North Korea and Kyra's a bit of a slow burner, but they won't say. Obviously, they've just been saying that she's ill, but at least Mark, she's getting back into playing and that. Obviously, Mark, obviously you're our Aussie expert. How's obviously people like Caitlin Ford been doing? I know Steph Catley went off with a concussion, didn't she? But yeah, so anything you want to say about the Asia Cup and the Australian team, or even the Arsenal players, just feel free to drop it in the chat. We've got a couple other hellos as well, so thank you. There's some new names there, so which is good. Remember to hit that subscribe button. And yeah, where am I going to go? Paul, obviously going back to you, a bit like just echoing like what James said about the Chloe Kelly stuff. This is her moment, isn't it? Like now she's starting to get some of her fitness back against Lionesses, against West Ham, potentially even the Tottenham game. She could get right into her stride, couldn't she? Because that's what we need. We need all the players pulling together for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've got Caitlin Ford still out in Australia, Beth coming back from that injury. So this is the perfect opportunity for Chloe to get a couple of starts under her belt and sort of, show us what we know she can do and get back into that rhythm that seems to have been missing sort of recently. But then saying that, she hasn't been playing much. So when she's only coming on for 5-10 minutes, it's hard to get into that rhythm of the game. But yeah, I'd like to see her start the next couple of games, and then potentially you've got Beth to come off the bench for sort of 15-20 minutes at the end as well, just so that she can ease into the games, so that she's then ready for those bigger ones sort of towards the end of the month.
Yeah, cool. Catherine, obviously I know they're talking about Catley's concussion protocol. Just as an Arsenal fan here, selfishly, if she don't play because she's at her head, I'm not really that upset. But obviously going in, looking into the lineup for the Lioness game, obviously we don't want to turn up there thinking, being really, really too confident, because I think we've got to remember them. Was it City only just beat them, didn't they, Lionesses? Like, they were quite unlucky. I think it was like 1-0 or 2-1 earlier in the season. So kind of what sort of lineup would you go with? Would you go with the normal like Well, it wouldn't be the normal three because we've got no Kyra, but obviously you're going to have probably Kim, Mario, and maybe Russo there, wouldn't you? I would have thought.
Yeah, that's where I'm curious as to how it's going to play out. So, first game of the season, we had Chloe out on the left and Olivia Smith started on the right. Beth came off the bench for the last 15 minutes and she got 2 assists. So I wouldn't be too upset if Beth went and did a repeat of that. As the starting lineup, I think is going to be tricky because Stina didn't play in one of the games this international break, but then came back into the training squad. So it's like, yeah, it was reported out that there's no new injuries, but is she truly uninjured kind of thing? So I feel like at least the front three would probably be Chloe Kelly, Alessia Russo, Olivia Smith. Same starting three that started against London City. Midfield, we know Kimmy Little's going to be there. We know Mariona's going to be there. Is it going to be Frida Manum or is it going to be Vic Pelova? That's going to be the big question. And then our backline, I think, kind of writes itself.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have a few more options for our fullbacks, but I don't see Renee not starting Katie McCabe and Emily Fox. And then Leah and Lata are going to be the center back pairing. I would be very shocked if either or both of them, well, either of them are not starting. I can't say both of them because there's only 3 center backs.
But no, I think that's a good point, Catherine, with either the Frida or Pelova question. I wouldn't actually mind seeing Victoria Pelova play on Sunday. Just my attitude is if you've got players in the squad, you just play them, and you all work as a squad and all work as a team until the end of the season. If certain players are leaving, but they're not leaving now, are they? So
Nope.
they're leaving in the summer. So you just get as much out of it as you can. And I think, especially against LCL, I don't know what you think, Catherine. I think Pelova, with those intricate passes and the way she can play that we have seen, probably suits us more than a Frida starting. I don't think we see best of Frida, do we, when she starts?
No, I think that's where the biggest struggle is that Frida just seems to be starting, and we call for a change of, put Pelova on there instead and have Pelova start, and then it almost seems like because Pelova's not playing and starting I shouldn't say playing as much, because she's not starting as much, it's almost like she's getting thrown into the deep end because when she is in the starting 11, it almost seems like it's against City or against Chelsea and not against LCL. So I hope that Pelova is kind of the one that starts. I think the way that she can help control that midfield just it's a little bit, to me, it's a little bit more of an edge than what Frida can provide.
Yeah.
But also we just scream at Frida for the most part because we don't know what's going through her head sometimes. But
to be fair, I don't think Frida does either, so it's not. I don't think it's just us. But yeah, obviously carrying on with the team, Amanda. Obviously, there's a lot of chat about Russo. Obviously, either being in the 10 or through the middle. What's your preference at minute? Because obviously, when we've been seeing Livy Smith playing through the middle, it's been a good option, hasn't it? But I just don't think we have enough players up front at the minute to probably do that.
No, probably not. But you're right. I like Smith in that role. I think it's been a really good, I guess, experiment. It's worked really nicely. I think I agree with Catherine about pretty much most of the team. I think Kelly will start, which will be really good for her. It'll be nice to see her trying to get into her groove again. And I think we're going to hopefully see an impact cameo off the bench from Mido at the end, 10-15 minutes or whatever. I completely agree with the back line and midfield. Potentially Holberg. I'm a big fan. I really like her. I'd love to see her get a few more minutes. But yeah, I know that I think Mariona was rested the last Spain game as well, so at least she's had some minutes off this season, because otherwise I think she's basically played the whole entire time. And obviously Kimmy doesn't play internationally, so potentially there's a bit of freshness there.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Stina thing, I read, you never know how much to read into stuff, do you? But I read that she went home from her international camp with personal issues, and it wasn't injury related, but you know, who knows. But yes, I think I probably pretty much agree. But yeah, I think yeah.
Hopefully she just forgot her phone charger or something. Like that was
probably that, yeah, or earbuds or something. Yeah.
No, but I get that. James, just obviously final point on obviously looking at the Arsenal team and stuff. We probably be expecting Katie McCabe, won't we, to play at left back? But do you think there's a bit of a shout for Taylor Hines just because of the international break and how she's played? I just think it all depends what sort of game you're playing, doesn't it? Which I know people could say is cliche, but if you could have a left back that had the attacking play of Katie McCabe and the defensive play of Taylor Hines, we'd be laughing, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot as I've said this year, Katie McCabe's been very hot and cold, to put a lighter term on it. Taylor Hines has been kind of similar. In some games she comes on and she looks like she could set the game on fire, like Olivia Smith, and then other times it's you're sitting there going, "This just ain't the game for you." I think it will depend, sort of more so on how Renee goes to set up against London City. But I would like to not to take them too much for granted. But I would like to see, as you were saying, like your Vicky Palovas and stuff like that, get minutes, especially in this kind of game, because I think London City, as much as they're a good team and we need to be careful of them, I think they'll tire out a lot easier coming into like the last sort of half hour of the game than what the likes West Ham will. So I think if you're going to kind of build minutes up for players, this would be the game to do it. And then the West Ham go a bit more what we're, to the most part, are what we're used to.
Yeah, cool. Mark said also about apparently Sam Kerr's playing quite well for Australia as well. But I think I was reading somewhere that it looks like she could be leaving Chelsea in the summer, but that's like the other 3 or 4 players that it's looks like a bit of a mass exodus out of Chelsea at the minute. But we'll talk about that another time. We'll go round and get your sort of predictions going into the game. Then we'll actually we'll mix it up actually a bit. We'll talk a bit about Arsenal's representative at the Asia Cup, and then we're going to hand over to Paul to talk about the young girl that sadly lost her life called Amelia. So, Paul, I'll start with you. What's your predictions going into Sunday? Are you confident? And what's your goal scorer and the scorer?
Yeah, I think we'll come out strong. Back after the international break, we know what we've got to do. Just keep going for it. We know that we're getting the second in the league. We'll get automatic qualification for Champions League. It's a backup for when we don't win the Champions League again. So yeah, just go out there. I think it's going to be a strong 4-0 win for us.
Nice. Who do you think will score the first goal?
I'm going Olivia Smith.
Yeah, like that. She's in my fantasy team, so yeah. Oh, well, we can play it anyway until it goes. So
sadly, that's going away.
Yeah. Amanda, what's your prediction and goal scorer?
I think it's going to be a really good match, on which I'm really looking forward to. And massive thank you to the lady who swapped her ticket with me. I had a stand in and I needed a sit in, and she swapped with me. So thank you, wonderful Arsenal fans. Yeah, I think it's going to be 4-1 to us, obviously. I think we're going to see a couple from Liv Smith, and I think Mido's going to come on and score one in the last 10 minutes.
Nice. James, what's your prediction?
I made myself that. I'll be on it. I've always went big and I want to go big, but I'm thinking back to earlier in the season when we played them at home, and as much as in the end that result was a very comfortable result for us, London City Lionesses could have really walked away with their heads held high, because personally, sitting in that stadium, and I even said in Laura's vlogs when we were doing the vlog, London City at half time would be sorely disappointed not to be battering us by 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I think it'll depend on how Renee sets up. If she sets up with a kind of defensive mindset, I think it'll be quite close. I'm going to go 2-0 to us. If she comes out attacking and throws everything at the game, I think I'll go with the rest and see a comfortable 4. My goal scorer, it'll all depend on who starts up top.
Yeah.
If she starts up top, if she gets the minutes and gets a start, I think Stina will score the first. But if not, then I'll go Alessia Russo, get her back in the confidence and amongst the goals coming up to the Chelsea games.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point about the first Lioness game. Like, yeah, it might on paper it might have looked a bit more convincing, but if you remember, didn't we score like a couple of goals in like 3 or 4 minutes?
We did, yeah. It was
Yeah.
we had as we're saying here, George, we had a proper second half. So the old way sort of Renee sticking the foot up the back sides and got them going. But London City, positive. Van Domsler was the goalkeeper that day, and
Yeah.
some of the saves she put off in that first half. As I say, if you're walking off London City Lionesses playing at half time, you're sitting looking up in the sky going, what do I need to do to score a goal? Because she was absolutely phenomenal and kept us in the game so much. And that's why I say I don't want to take too much away from them. I know they're kind of, as the seasons went on, they've kind of wobbled a bit, but for a team that's just come up and kind of been through together over the summer, they had a lot of signings. I think they're a team that can genuinely sit there at the end of the season and be really proud of themselves and say they've done a really good job. But unfortunately, from an Arsenal perspective, it's their job to get there on Sunday and once again break their hearts, especially at their first ever home sellout.
Yeah, never mind, eh? Mark, just to answer the question, if you win the Champions League, you qualify, but you also miss the playoff rounds as well, so you just go straight through. So seeing as we're the only team in England that have done that, evening Gav. So not Chelsea. Catherine, kind of predictions from you. Are you going with what everyone else has said, or are you going something different?
It's a mixed bag. So I think there's a few things to also consider. London City, from the start of the season to now, they have a manager replacement. They have a different formation going into it. Someone that we didn't play against because she was recovering from injury, who also knows, seems to be the entire Arsenal squad very well in Van de Donk. Like, she's back, and is able to play. And considering that they didn't let City score 5 past them and held City to a 2-1 loss and held United to the same scoreline, I think it will be a lot tougher this time around.
Yeah.
I think I want the clean sheet, but I think it's going to end up being a 2-1 Arsenal victory. And I'm going to go Russo with the first goal. Yeah. And I kind of want Smila to get her first goal for Arsenal. And I think that she could do it.
I think she's saving herself for the winner against Chelsea at the Bridge. So, to like a 40-yard volley screamer and Sonia Tuna Pasta's crying on the touchline. So that's what I paid
And
to see.
And I think like if we needed to, like if Beth does not come off the bench, I think, and we wanted Chloe Kelly and Olivia Smith to both be coming off the pitch to rest up some. I think you could push McCabe higher, have Hines back to actually defend, and have Smila up on the right with Fox behind her. I think that is. I mean, it would be completely bizarre to essentially have 4 fullbacks on the pitch, but McCabe can play every position, it seems like, except for goalkeeper. So, and with the crosses that Smila can get whipped in, you know, could experiment, but 2-1 maybe a bit too tight of a scoreline to be experimenting like that. But
yeah, that makes sense. I do think it'll be. I'm going 3-1, but I think Freya Godfrey will score. Just I think she's actually done quite well this season. All the games I've seen her play for Lionesses, I think she's done really, really well, and it's nice to see her getting regular minutes, playing at a team in the WSL that are not there just if they're going to stay up. Like, because let's be honest, LCL are not one of the teams that you think you'd be worried that they're going to get relegated. Like, they're not anywhere near West Ham, not anywhere near Leicester or Liverpool. It's like level.
that could be an interesting game. Liverpool Leicester this weekend.
Yeah, that could be quite interesting. It's just annoying that for me that one of them, the team that finishes bottom, knowing I like, will probably just get away with it anyway because they've got the playoff game against one of the top teams in the championship, haven't they? So, but that's for a different show. But yeah, so I think we've got enough to get the job done. But I think something like Freya Godfrey will probably score for Lionesses. But who do I think? I think a Mariona. I'm going for a first goal scorer. Cool. We'll move on just briefly because obviously Mark's watching as well. Talking about the Asia Cup. So obviously we have got Steph Catley, Caitlin Ford, and Kyra playing for Australia. Going to you, Amanda. Obviously, as people that watch the show know that we're very, very critical of a certain Caitlin Ford. But it sounds like she's having a decent tournament. So obviously that all that's going to do is hold her into good stead for when she comes back for the rest of the season, you would hope, wouldn't you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, they perform out there. You'd hope they bring their form back to us. Haven't seen masses of it, to be honest. But obviously I've been sort of checking on Instagram and places like that, so I know that the Aussies are doing well. But yeah, I think it can only be a positive thing. The worst case scenario is that they get injured, and then bring that back to us. But that aside, hopefully, yeah, bring the form back.
Yeah, cool. James, obviously, like just carrying on the Ford chat, if you can bring the best out of Caitlin Ford, even if it's just for the rest of the season, it is like if she's playing how she played the start of last season, I think it was. It's positive, isn't it? Like my attitude is she can't get any worse than what she was before she went.
Yeah, I mean, considering especially as well, obviously last season you were one of the ones that called, I believe the term was Ballon d'Or Ford or something along those lines. So we all know when Caitlin Ford, she's like Beth Mead, in form, she's the player everybody wants in their team and the player nobody wants to come up against. Yeah. But when she's out of form, like she has been for good spells of this season, I don't want to be so cruel as to say she's worse than a man down, but she is one of those ones where you feel that you're sitting there going, we know what you can do. We've seen it. We've seen how good you are. Flick your switch. Someone go there and just flick your switch and turn her back on. But it's good to see. As I say, I'm the same as Amanda. I've genuinely, I've not seen the full international break. I've caught one Scotland game, so I've not seen anything. That's been small clips and listening to Laura talking when I've had the small chances to even see her due to work. So, but it is one of those ones, as I say. They all sound like they're doing well. I believe they've won this. I believe they won to. I don't know exactly how the time frame works, but I think it was either early last night or early this morning. They won their recent game there, so it sounds good. Wish them all the best, and hopefully the form continues for them.
Yeah, I just think
hopefully we get. I think from an Arsenal perspective, for me, the main thing is come back in one piece, come back fit, and come back in some sort of good form, and we'll be all happy and all smiles.
Yeah, and I think James, that's the main thing. Obviously, Mark could say it a bit better because he's obviously an Australian supporter. But from our point of view on here, if Caitlin Ford can get in some decent form and come back a bit more confident, it's only going to help Arsenal, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as I say, perfect example. Earlier in the season, we've seen with Beth Mead. There was a lot of talk and a lot of rumour amongst fans that potentially she could have potentially leaving at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Even so much as there was a couple of whispers round about the winter transfer window. Could she be going again? And she hit that form just at the right time and absolutely flourishing. So I think all we can really do is hope Caitlin Ford comes back in the same sort of mindset. That is, as we say, the same sort of way we've seen her. That Caitlin is just one focus only, and that's get that ball, take it up the park, and even nab herself, like she's done last season, nabbing herself some really good goals.
Yeah. Obviously, coming to you, Catherine. Obviously, for Australia, we don't see Caitlin Ford and Katie McCabe on the same side. And we seem to see an improvement because she seems to find Sam Kerr a lot easier than she finds Leslie or Stina, to be honest. Do you think there's much in that? And obviously, if you look at it at the other points, that's a bit of a two-handed question for you. If Caitlin Ford comes back and puts some decent performances in, if she is leaving at the end of the season, surely it's a bit like a free advertisement of a shop window for her, isn't it?
Yeah, I think if nothing happens with a new Arsenal contract with her, which from everything that I've said, it's unlikely. This is the time that you would actually want to, like, I don't want to say like beefing up your resume, but at least showing that you can still compete at a high level and say, yeah, whatever teams in Europe that still want me, like, this is what I can still provide to you. I still have the pace. I still can whip in crosses. And so far, I mean, the first half of the season, it seems like she was just kind of playing in limbo, but I haven't watched much of the Asian Cup. I've seen some highlights though. It's like what she's doing for the Matildas seems to be more of trying to advertise herself than what she's doing for Arsenal, which is a bit sad in my eyes, but that's just the Arsenal fan in me. But I think I almost think I've watched it a few times when our wingers decide to flip sides, and when she has Fox or Holmberg behind her, there seems to be just that little bit more, like, something special happening when she flips over to the right side than when she's playing on the left with Katie doing the overlapping runs with everything, because it almost seems like she's held to maybe helping track back if she's over on the right than if she's on the left, if any of that makes sense. But it's like when our lovely Holding Hands FC are playing on the left together, they seem to just get closer and closer together, and then we just see the same repetition of for driving towards the goal line and either goes out for a corner or a goal kick and not really going towards goal. But I think if she can find a great stride for the remainder of the tournament, I think what she has done for the Matildas so far has been pretty good, better than what she's provided for Arsenal. Then I hope she brings that back and continues, I guess, with somewhat of advertisement of say, hey, look at me, I can still do this.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Obviously, just talking about Steph Catley, Amanda. Obviously, we've seen how important she is for Arsenal, but also she seems to be a very, very pivotal part of that Australian team. So, what do you think the difference is? Because obviously, when we saw her at left back towards the last few times she played there, she very, very struggled, didn't she? But then since she got moved into that centre half slot with Leah and Lotta, she's just been like Mrs. Reliable now, hasn't she?
Yeah, which is exactly what we want. That's probably like the number one thing that you want from your back line is reliable. And I'll be glad when she's back safe and sound and injury free, because I think then we've got some excellent options in that back line with Leah, Lotta, obviously Kadina, and then Catley as well when she's back. That's pretty strong. I think that's a nice back line.
Yeah, cool. And Paul, finally, we'll talk to you about Kyra. Obviously, we all know what she's currently having to go through, and it's got to be such a psychological battle to even be able to concentrate on a game of football, hasn't it? But I think Kyra's also shown the sort of the mentality that she has as a person, alongside as a player. But do you think this tournament's quite good for her and a bit of a distraction from obviously what's going on personally? There's not much that can distract you from that, but she seems professional enough to want to still play football, doesn't she?
Yeah, I think it's helped being that it's a home tournament for her. So she is close by to her family at this time, and we all know what she's going through, and she's whereas all the other players realistically just need to stay physically fit, or not to be on the field. She needs to be mentally fit as well, with everything that's going on. And I just think being that closer to the family, I think, has really helped her at the moment. And then, hopefully, they go on, get even further in the competition, and then hopefully she comes back to us and gets some minutes and builds up into the team with us.
No, I agree. I think it's really important it being a home tournament because, like you say, with what's gone on with her mum, that's important that she's there. So that's why part of me was a little bit surprised that Arsenal didn't loan her to like an Australian team in January. Just just for it, not because we don't want her, but just for the personal part of it that she's there in Australia, if that makes sense. But I'm sure there's a lot of dialogue going on that Arsenal, if Kyra needs to go back to Australia, she goes back to Australia, doesn't she? So I'm sure Arsenal are across that. But yeah, we'll call that's our roundup for the Asia Cup. I'm going to pass back to Paul, obviously, to talk about the young girl Amelia that sadly passed away. So over to you, Paul.
Yeah, keep this very brief, but obviously our thoughts are with the family and friends of Amelia. Sadly collapsed on the pitch, playing for Oxford United Academy, aged just 15, playing against Fulham. All the efforts of the medical staff couldn't do anything. They rushed her to hospital, and she sadly passed away last Saturday in the evening. And you just think, this is a 15-year-old girl. She's playing the game that she loves. You never know what sort of future that she's got ahead of her. Moving up potentially to a WSL club, playing for England. You never know. I mean, I didn't know her personally, but I have spoken to 2 or 3 people this week that have actually played alongside her or in a senior team at Oxford, being just down the road from me, and sort of knew her personally. And they said she was a lovely girl, and yeah, just our thoughts are with all the family and friends of hers.
Yes, it was horrific when I heard it. Like on, I think I read it like somewhere like on Facebook or something, and I was like, "There's no age." Paul, obviously, it was in that sense. There's not. It wasn't. It was such a tragic, what happened. But do you think this is where sometimes when we look at the investment going into women's football, that there's a hell of a lot of investment that needs to be put into like the non-league part of it. So anything medically that they've got the best chance they possibly can have, or do you think it's just a freak act, like to something that's happened and it don't happen that often?
It seems to be happening more and more across both the men's and the women's game, that players are collapsing for unknown reasons. I mean, you just go back a couple of years to the Conti Cup final with Frida, but yeah, there definitely needs to be investment lower down. And Oxford United are a big club. The men's team play in the Championship. The women's team last season were pushing for promotion up to the WSL2. So they're a professional club, but and they do look after their academy players. So I really don't think in this instance much could be done. But going down even lower than Oxford into the real non-league side of the game, I think that is an area of investment that is definitely needed right down to the bottom of the grassroots level.
Yeah. Kind of just coming to you, James. Obviously, like Laura said about having monitors from these medical equipment should be from grassroots all the way up, shouldn't it? Like, surely there's enough investment in football generally, and like Paul's just said, like Oxford are a team in the Championship. Are you telling me that they couldn't put a bit of money aside to make sure that all this medical equipment is adequate?
Yeah, I mean, as Paul was saying, it's especially in the grassroots levels, it's not just obviously. Catherine's went away, George. I don't know what happened there. But as we saying there, it's not just obviously the women's, the men's as well. I mean, I can't remember the team it was, and sadly, it was. Luckily, in the sense, it wasn't a serious life threatening thing. It was someone had a bad tackle, and I think it was a broken leg they got, and they were on the pitch in absolute agony for 8 hours waiting in an ambulance because where their game was being played. And the medical attention, as you say, I know in response levels, obviously, Laura's one of Laura's cousins up here works within the ambulance service, and they do an amazing job. But unfortunately, they are so overwhelmed and so overstretched, especially when it comes to like weekends.
Yeah.
Everything then goes into sort of like almost like a category level. So as we're saying, if in any form of the football side of things, we've now then got an ambulance on standby just in case. Like we see obviously now with like the WSL up here, the SWPL, but lower down it doesn't seem to be such a requirement. It's more of a left to the physios. And I think if you, even basic things like that, if you've got somebody there with a bit more medical knowledge, not to say that the physios don't know what they're doing, but as you say, somebody there with equipment they can step in and possibly, as you say, next time maybe be able to save a life. I didn't read a great deal about obviously Amelia's passing when Laura was telling me about it, and with what I kind of read, it seems to be one of those sort of, as horrible as it is to say, she didn't seem to suffer too much in the sense, like it was almost instant. And obviously, sadly, all those that worked on her obviously put their heart and soul in to try and save, obviously, such a young life. And tragically it's come to an end, but from this it does once again raise that element of, from all levels, professional down to amateur, we need to be doing more to help, and if not just a fitness aspect and all aspects to young players and their upcomings. So I would like to see more what not just clubs are willing to do, like the FA and all over what they'd be willing to do to obviously help with that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Catherine, just finishing on this point, obviously, is it similar to what we're talking about, like in America in the leagues out there, or do they have, with the medical equipment, are they more prepared and equipped with that?
I am not 100% sure. I mean, we don't have a football pyramid. We just have what, the NWSL, the MLS, and then there might be a single league that's below both of those, or I know there's another professional soccer league that's like made up of, I think there's 4 teams in Canada, and then there's like 6 teams in the US, that those are kind of separate, but not, they aren't quite on the NWSL level. So I don't watch those games because they aren't available on TV anywhere, but everywhere that I've seen games for the MLS, for the NWSL, for the NFL, even for basketball games, and baseball games, there is an ambulance and the EMTs like on site / just outside at every single one of those venues. And they have had to come out a few times. I know that at least for the NFL, the ambulances are outside the stadiums. They aren't exactly sitting inside the stadium. There's not enough room for it. But the personnel that are in charge of those vehicles, they are inside the stadiums and ready to help at a moment's notice.
Cool. And it's the start of the NWSL now, isn't it? Have I got that
Yep.
right? Or
Tonight, 4 hours, just over 4 hours, starting with Washington Spirit, the elusive Trinity Rodman being linked to everywhere but a new contract, just to sign a new contract for even more money.
They're the one that wanted like loads and loads of money and then decided to just sign a new deal anyway.
Yeah, because they did get it reworked that you can have like a specialty cap for certain things. So it's to kind of put it in perspective. If Sam Kerr were to go back to the NWSL, she would not be eligible to get the over the salary cap budget.
Okay. So, yeah, cool. We'll have to do a show based on the NWSL and get you on, Catherine, because I'd be interested in that. Especially with all the salary caps and that, because it don't make sense to me. But there you go. Cool. We'll wrap it up there. Just before we finish, obviously, going forwards, we really appreciate all your support with the channel. We will have a couple of giveaways coming up from Ruth Beck Art and the Classic Football Clocks with Martin. So please watch that space. That should be over the next couple of weeks. Also, please, like we always say on all the shows, please hit that subscribe button and share. Even after the show, we like all the channels mentioned on there. Please hit that subscribe button. We all do really, really appreciate it. And you hit, the more subscribers you hit, the more content you get. The more people losing their heads on watch-alongs you'll probably get. Don't know, you might not want that, but yeah. So thank you to everyone in the comments. It's been really, really appreciated. All the positive messages in the chat. Appreciate that, and thank you to those who have been looking out for non-positive comments in the chat. Appreciate that as well. Just want to say, Amanda, thank you. Hope to see you on Sunday.
Yeah, hopefully that'll be great. Yeah.
So yeah, Paul, are you there Sunday?
Well, yep, definitely be there on
Oh.
Sunday.
Yeah, I'll be there. Sam's driving me from St. Neots, so I will be there. I can't remember the last game I went to. It's been a while. So, James, thank you for everything you've done today and helping out. It's been great to have you back on.
It's been a pleasure to be back on. Sorry I'm not as technically gifted as Laura in the terms of all the graphics and stuff, but I'm sure she'll be back shortly. Working her magic as always, but it's been a pleasure taking part this evening. Unfortunately, I won't see any of the game on Sunday. I'm working, but I'm more than happy for Laura to kill my battery with a load of texts telling me Arsenal have banged in a barrel load of goals. So looking forward to it.
Nice one. But no, you've been brilliant. Really appreciate it. And Catherine, great as always. We're gonna start needing your autograph soon, Catherine.
Might be start to get a bit expensive if I were having to mail everything overseas. But always happy to be on.
Start offering out autographs. We can get you over here then for a game.
I'm hoping, within the next 12 months I'll be hopping on a plane at some sort at some point. That's the goal. But
Nice.
I'm always happy to join these. If those of you who are not going to the game, I will be joining the watch along, so you can watch me lose my head at either absolute belters of goals or if there's any bad calls from referees or goals being conceded.
I thought you was going to say just watch you lose your head at Ryan. Then, so.
I mean that too. It's gonna
But yeah, obviously Ryan, Catherine. I'm not sure who else will be around, but the watch-alongs will be across all the channels. And yeah, all that's left to say is come on, you Gunners. Have a lovely weekend, everyone. Stay safe. Look after yourself. And remember, keep smiling. And come on, the Arsenal. Good night.
Night.